welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing fabulously. I just thought this would be a perfect time, now you guys have watched all my Disneyland Paris vlogs, for you to kind of get like a little review slash summary of my trip, the Disneyland Paris 30th celebrations so far, and just Disneyland Paris in general. Now obviously I know that the 30th anniversary didn't start until the 12th of April, and obviously I went at the end of March, but I just thought this would be a great way to kind of introduce you guys to what was there beforehand, get a feel for kind of what was going on, and I know obviously they're not really adding that much more, so I presume this will be quite a good coverage of the initial thoughts and feelings towards the 30th. Now if you watched my trip announcement or my vlogs, you will know kind of roughly what we did on our trip, but I just thought I'd summarise it in case this is your first video on my channel, just so you get a good idea of what's going on. So we went for 4 days, 3 nights. We flew from London Luton to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Did we fly to Charles de Gaulle? Yeah, we did fly to Charles de Gaulle. We got the magic shuttle that you get from the airport straight to your hotel, and we stayed at Hotel Santa Fe in just one of their regular rooms. There was 3 of us in the one room, just because I find that's a cheap way of doing Disneyland Paris if you're all in one room, and when it's so short anyway, you're barely in the room, so it doesn't really matter to me if it feels quite cramped. We had a super early morning flight, which I actually prefer because you get started, you get your day going. We had to be at the airport for 5 and we flew at 7, but London Luton was an amazing airport considering what I'd heard about it. I always thought it was a really small airport, there wasn't really much going for it, and it is a lot smaller than the likes of Heathrow and Gatwick, but when you're only flying to Paris, I thought that was amazing. It took us 5-10 minutes to drop off our bags, another 10 minutes in security, and then we were through relaxing. So I definitely recommend flying from a smaller airport and just getting there. Like, we were in Paris by 10 AM, which was actually 9 AM obviously because the clocks go forward when you go to Paris, and we managed to get the shuttle at 10:20 I think it was, and we were at the hotel by 11:30, which is amazing considering when I went in November we didn't get there till like 4. This one was just so much quicker. Like, it was a busy morning, but I'd rather have a few busy days than a couple of leisurely days but you don't get to see the parks and do everything that you want to do. Staying at Santa Fe, this was the second time I've stayed at Santa Fe, the first being when I went to a dance school trip, and like you perform at like the Hyperion Cafe room building. I don't really remember what we did there, I just remember going and staying at Santa Fe. I loved the theming of the hotel, but I will say you definitely notice a difference between Santa Fe to Newport Bay where we stayed last time. Obviously you pay a lot more for Newport Bay, but this is going to sound really weird of me to say, but the bathrooms, they're in Newport Bay, you have like an area of the bathroom that's like the vanity area, like where you have the sinks and you can get ready, and then there's a door to the toilet and the shower, and I love that because it means that Soph can get ready in the vanity area while I have like a shower every morning, feel fresh for the parks, come out, and then I'm get ready in the room. At Santa Fe it's all one room, so obviously she couldn't get ready while I was showering, and it just meant that we both kind of had to get up a little bit earlier and kind of work around each other a little bit more. Bless Key, he literally just waited until we were done and then went. Benefit of being a boy that just literally gets changed, brushes his teeth and goes, I guess. But yeah, I do really like it, and obviously if you're looking to save the money and you're not too worried about working around or getting up slightly earlier to get ready, go for Santa Fe. Like, there wasn't many other differences really. It was just 2 double beds in a room. I think the Newport Bay beds were slightly comfier, but that might just be me remembering it or being so tired on our November trip that I was just zonked and ready for bed. But I liked it. I wouldn't rush to go there again. I think I prefer Cheyenne. I don't know how you say it still. I think I prefer staying there, so if the price is cheaper for Cheyenne, I know that they bounce between the two prices. I would personally recommend Cheyenne more, just for the resorts theming. The standard of the room just feels a little bit better, even though they're both value resorts. And they are equal distance from the parks. Like if you're walking to the parks, Cheyenne's here, Santa Fe's here, and then there's a bridge and then the walkway to the parks. So there is literally no benefit staying to one or the other if you're looking at park distance. They are both a little bit of a trek in the evenings, like you feel it on your feet, but in the mornings you don't really notice the walk. We walked some of the days and we shuttled other days, just because as we were getting ready we were like, how much time do we have? Do we have time to wait for the next shuttle and then get to the parks for the start of the extra magic hours, or is it best to walk and do a brisk walk to get there for rope drop? Both work, to be honest, and I guess it's kind of, if you're looking to conserve your energy, get the shuttle. The 30th anniversary. I was a little bit blown away by the 30th anniversary. I'm not saying it's amazing, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, it's insane, it's innovative, it's inspirational, but considering what DLP have done in the past, like I went for the Frozen celebration in the start of 2020 and I just didn't get it. Like there was a couple of cookies that were like shortbread biscuits or like all butter biscuits, I can't really remember what you call them, an Olaf cupcake and a float. Like there was a mini parade that was like one float and some dancers, and bless them, they were really working hard for it, but it just wasn't what I would consider a celebration. Like it wasn't an event to go to Disneyland Paris for. We didn't go for it. I'm not really a Frozen fan myself, but I'm glad we didn't go for it because we wanted to see the Frozen celebration, because there wasn't really one to have. Whereas the 30th was insane in comparison. So you've probably seen all the craziness about the merch. There is merch for days online. Like they're like, we're bringing out this, we're bringing out this. They've got spirit jerseys, jumpers, tops, ears, pins, mugs, like hand soap, which I actually really want and I didn't get, even though I'm not sure why. I'm not sure whether it's just the more I see it, the more I want it, because I'm seeing everyone else have it. But they have so much merch available until you get to the parks and everyone's taking it. There was such an issue with resellers a couple of weeks before we went, going and buying everything, and obviously the annual pass, no, not the annual pass holder, the 30th anniversary merch had come out like 2-3 weeks before we came, and they were bringing out other bits and dribs and drabs. So like the ears were there, a lot of the t-shirts were there, the Starbucks mugs came out when we were there. Another thing I didn't get, but I did, now I do wish I bought it, but I'm not sure whether that's just because I'm like, oh, I wish I had everything. But yeah, I think definitely the merch kind of let us down, not by what was on offer, but what was available. Like if everything that they'd shown were in the stores, I think we would have had a lot better time in terms of merch. Soph did buy the ears and all three of us bought pins, but I just kind of think there could have been a lot bigger hauls if they had the stock of the stuff we wanted. The food I am really happy about. A lot of it isn't actually dedicated towards the 30th, it's just kind of, they've either tailored it towards the 30th, so like the waffles, they've stopped selling the Mickey waffles in Disneyland Park. You can get them in Studios, which we found, so if you want to know where that is, go check out my vlog. But they have like little waffles that are more like this size, the kind of size that you get in the buffets at the hotels or like the park restaurants. And you can get them with Nutella or cream and marshmallows, and they look incredible. So defo grab some of those. We tried the Dole Whip for the first time. I was really impressed. Considering I'd only obviously had it in America, I was really impressed by how tasty it was. It was super refreshing. The portion sizes are literally like this big, so you can definitely fill up, and I think it was €5 a pot, which I don't think is that bad for Disney, for like a snack that definitely satisfies your hunger and like kept us going for a few more hours when it was a bit warmer in the parks. I tried the cookie. They have a few different cookies. They're like celebration cookies that have sprinkles on. I had the chocolate one. There's a chocolate, white chocolate and raspberry, which is the one I had. There's a triple chocolate one, and I think my friend Andrea tried the apricot one. I really liked mine. I thought it was really nice. Like, it was like crunchy on like the outside of the cookie, but then the inside was nice and like chewy and a bit gooey, which was so good. Like, I love a chewy cookie myself, so I had that for breakfast one day. I also tried the Mickey pretzel sandwich, which is literally like the size of your head. It is insanely big. You can get it with vegetables or ham and cheese. You do see me try it for the first time in the vlog. I did like it, but I thought it was a very big portion and a bit same that the more you ate of it. Like, I could have had half of one and been satisfied. I had like, by the time I was 3/4 of the way, I was done with it because I was just bored of eating the same thing. And it is €9, which is a good price for like the size of the sandwich. But if you're kind of bored of the sandwich, then it's a lot of sandwich to eat just to kind of go to waste. I think that was it. The one snack I want to try next time is the Mickey ice cream bars. Just for the fact that we were going to have them, but it kind of just didn't align with when we were hungry. We weren't anywhere near one, so we didn't end up grabbing them. But they definitely look great. They're a little bit smaller than they are in the US, but I mean, it's ice cream covered in chocolate, so you can't really go wrong there. And I really want to try, they've just brought out new ice cream that has like a little 30th, the 30th logo in the ice cream that I think is in Fantasyland. I will double check. But that looks so tasty as well, and I've heard good things about that, so I think on my next trip I'm definitely going to try that. I'm completely overlooking the parades. I don't know how, but the parades were the best thing about this trip for me. I love Stars on Parade, always have, always will, hope it never goes. If they add more parades, perfect, which is what they did for this time. So we had 3 or 4 parades a day for the 30th anniversary, which is Dream Big, Shine Brighter. And I don't know what I prefer more. The fact that they're on the stages, which I love because it just disperses the crowds. The fact that the music is incredible and will stick in your head all day. So just be prepared that you'll be singing in French that you don't understand, and you'll be singing Ready for the Ride over and over and over again. I still do, and I really wish that they had Ready for the Ride on Spotify, because I'm so fed up of watching my YouTube clips or watching other people's parade videos so that I can just experience that parade over and over. I stood in about 4 different places. I think I watched the parade 6 times, but one of them was like just as it passed by as we were eating lunch at Casey's Corner on the first day. So I tried a few different places. I tried my standard tactic of standing by a bin so that you can't have kids or other people try and push you aside so that you get a bad view. Like, you've got the bin guarding your space. That was great for if you wanted to see the floats as they came past, and then you can turn around and watch the shows behind you. I tried the parade show stage where Miguel and Tiana go. That was amazing because the Miguel bit is my favourite, and I just love Miguel. I was so excited when he was going to be in Disneyland Paris because I have never seen him in a park before that. I know that you can see him in the American parks, but he came out after my last trip, and obviously with COVID I hadn't been able to go back, so it was just incredible seeing him. And then we decided to go for the parade float behind where Miguel goes because Miguel popped onto it and we just wanted to see all the different characters. But my favourite spot, and this is a little bit of a sneak peek because I did not want to tell anyone this because I was like, when I go again I want to have my spot saved. I don't want to see someone else in my spot, but I'm going to just tell it because you need to experience it. So you've got the castle behind you, Main Street directly in front of you, and you are stood behind the green lines. Make sure you stand behind the green lines, otherwise the attendants will move you out of the way because the characters have to be able to move freely without obviously you guys touching them or being too close or being a hazard. So you've got Main Street directly in front of you, like you can see the railroad in the distance. Main Street is along the sides. The parade obviously comes up towards you, which looks incredible, and then the dancers are right in front of you, and then you get the characters that are at the back of the Central Plaza. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but I'm going to call it that, where the 4 stages are. the characters come off and walk onto their stages, so you get the best interactions with them. I had Donald actually kiss me, and I tried to film it, but I didn't know it was coming, so all you can hear is my scream. We had like Daisy and Donald giving us hearts, we had Tiana blowing us kisses, I had Alice like wave. I got some great photos in that spot. So if you're not sure where, check out day 3 and 4 of my DLP vlogs, because you'll see where I'm stood. Oh, insane. Definitely recommend there if you're going to watch the shows for the best views ever. Oh, I just love that parade. Normally I'm like a one parade, then I'm cool, like I'll watch it as it goes past, but it's just so immersive, such good music, everyone, like all the dancers and the characters are just having the best time, which makes you have the best time. In terms of crowds, I think we were quite lucky because obviously the 30th hadn't officially started when we went. We went the last week of March, but you definitely notice a difference in crowds throughout the week to the weekend. We also overlapped with an annual pass holder party on the Friday night, so we noticed that the Friday daytime was getting busier and busier as we went on. We did the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the Wednesday was a lovely day. Like, it felt busy, but everyone was kind of everywhere. The crowds were moving, queue times weren't too long, but Saturday and Friday afternoon were very busy. Like, the parades were filling up with like 45 minutes up to an hour to spare. If you wanted a good view, you've kind of got to get to the parades like 45 minutes before, which to me felt like a long time to be there, but it was worth it for the views. So if you're not that bothered by the parades, you can 100% get there like 10 minutes before. You can get some cute photos over people's heads, but if you want that character interaction, for me, I'd rather wait 40 minutes for a parade and be at the front and have the character interactions as they go past than queue 45 minutes for a character like Stitch or Donald. Actually, I would queue for Donald. I mean, who wouldn't? But yeah, like queuing for like Stitch or Mary Poppins, for me, I'd much rather wait and see them in a parade or see them walking past as they as the characters go to take their breaks. So yeah, I definitely say for me, I'd rather queue for a parade. And if you would too, go to my spot at least 45 minutes before on a weekend, even an hour before. We got there an hour and 20 minutes before and just brought a snack and just enjoyed that and just chilled in the parks, watching the world go by while we waited for the parade. Rides. The only ride that we were particularly bothered by not being open was It's a Small World. They're currently having renovations, like it's closed for a while. Other than that, we did not notice any rides that we particularly wanted to go on that weren't open. We actually were very fortunate to luck out in terms of wait times. I think the longest we probably waited for a ride was maybe half an hour. But obviously I've got to disclose that I have a disability, like a priority pass, which is like the lower level of their disability pass just because of a couple of chronic conditions I have. So we did have wait times of like an hour on my wait pass, which would mean that the standby queue time was an hour, but I would just go sit down and wait for that hour, so it didn't feel so bad because we could sit down, have a drink, and then join the queue at that hour point and not have to queue for as long. We'd queue for like 10 minutes rather than queuing for the hour and 10 minutes, say, that it would take from if you were doing the standby. The rides actually felt so good this time. This is the first time I've been to Disneyland Paris in like 6-7 years where it's been like sunny. Normally when I go it's freezing cold, you're in multiple layers, and just being outside is a bit painful for a few hours, but because this temperature was like 23-24 degrees, it was lovely. Like, you could be in a t-shirt, there was like a cooling breeze a couple of the days, and it just meant that when you were outside you didn't feel so bad. It wasn't too hot that you were uncomfy, but it wasn't so cold that you were like looking for places to go get warm again. And yeah, I'd just say the rides just feel so much nicer when you're not rushing between them. We had 4 days instead of 3 last time, so we had basically 3 full days and a bit, so we could just explore the parks at our leisure. He rode Hyperspace Mountain as much as he wanted to. We could ride Big Thunder Mountain like repetitively. Obviously we didn't manage to get a night ride of Big Thunder Mountain. We got like a sunset ride, but we normally like doing it in the dark. But obviously as summer encroaches, the park, we were there for the last weekend that the parks were only open till 8. Now they're open till 11 p.m, so you will be able to ride the rides in the dark. But for us, it just, by the time it got dark enough, we were waiting for illumination, so we didn't really get to ride it in the dark. But I would 100% recommend riding Big Thunder Mountain in the dark. It's just so good. Indiana as well. Indiana's great when the fireworks are on, because you get like a lovely view of the castle as you go round the top of Indiana. But Big Thunder Mountain in the dark is incredible. You just feel like you're going so much faster. We also got stuck on Big Thunder Mountain, which was so fun. I love it when Disneyland Paris gets a little bit wrong, but so right. I was fortunate enough that when I was living out in America, I rode Space Mountain in Orlando in the light. So we started, and normally like it's dark and you can't tell where you're going. In the light it's so cool because you literally see how close you are to the other like track lines as you're going round. The music was still on, so we still got like a bit of the atmosphere, but oh my god, it was incredible. I think I filmed it on my phone, but I doubt I have that. I'm so bad for storing videos and photos, but it was incredible. And then with Big Thunder, we literally had gone round the first corner and down. We went up to the bit where it judders, and if you've been on the ride you'll probably recognise it. Like there's a bit before you take the first incline where you like jolt back, and we were like, oh, we jolted and then it kind of stopped, and we were like, oh gosh. And then the announcements were coming on, the attendants came literally within like 3-4 minutes, and we're like walking backwards and forwards, and we were like at this point not sure if they were gonna get us going, make us wait, send us back. Like I'd never been stuck on a ride that actually was stuck before. And then we heard the announcements, which they were announcing in all these different languages. The lights came on, the sounds turned off, and we were like, I think we're stuck. And fortunate enough that we weren't stuck in an awkward place. Like we were very easy to get out of. Like there was a little bit of like a step down, but it wasn't unsafe at all. And the attendants got us off so quickly. I think we were stuck for probably about 10 minutes, and then we were off in like a further 5 minutes, and we just got to walk alongside the track, which was so cool. I just love like anything behind the scenes. I was just so satisfied by. And we just walked back up and out, and they were so kind. They gave us a little readmission fast pass. So it wasn't, obviously they don't give out the free fast passes anymore. They've got like the Premier access that you have to pay for, and Big Thunder Mountain's like €18 or something each person. So we were very fortunate that they let us have the readmission fast pass, which you just go up to the Premier access, you show them, it's got Big Thunder Mountain on it, for how many people, so we were for 3 people. You just hand it in and then you get to join the fast pass queue, and we were back on the ride within 10 minutes after the parade had gone. Thankfully, we watched the parade as they fixed the ride, so we barely felt like we missed any time. One exciting thing we did, which you may have noticed, was myself, Soph and Key all bought annual passes for Disney. There are obviously 4 different types of annual passes. We went for the Magic Plus pass. If you want, let me know down below in the comments if you want a video, or you have any questions regarding annual passes, because I know I did. I was quite new to them. I'd had one in America for Walt Disney World, but I'd never had one for Disneyland Paris. So if you do have any questions about them, just drop them below. And if there's a bunch, I'll do a video. If not, I can just answer them down below, whatever's quicker. We were quite fortunate as well, because the queues can be very long, because at the moment the annual pass holder store, whatever you would call it, is not open in Disneyland Park. It's only open on the entrance to Walt Disney Disney studios. So as you're going to the studios, you'll see tickets for like day tickets, and then there's an annual pass holder section where you can buy, or if you have questions about annual passes, you can join that queue. We waited for half an hour, and then it took about 20 minutes for myself, Soph and Key to sign our contracts, get our photos and get our annual passes, which is so exciting. It was completely impulse. I had no idea I was going to buy them beforehand. Soph did, so Soph joined the queue, and I just have a lack of control. So here I am too. But it does mean that we've already planned our next trip, and I'd love to take a trip in the fall because I've yet to experience Disneyland Paris for Halloween. It's the only season I've not experienced in Disneyland Paris, and I'm desperate to. So I'll definitely be trying to go back to the parks for Halloween, and maybe a Christmas trip, and maybe a January, maybe a February, maybe just every month of the year. But I'm sure you'll find out because I'll be vlogging it. So yeah, if you have any questions about annual passes, drop them below. I don't want to go too much into it now just because I'm not really sure if that's what you're here for. You're here for a trip review. Dining reservations. Now, if you saw my vlog, you'll see that I had 2 dining reservations, one for Manhattan and one for Cafe Bistrot Chez Remy. I think that's what it's called. Remy. Don't know. Manhattan and Bistrot Chez Remy. And in my vlogs, you'll see us obviously going to both, and I felt like I loved both at the time. But looking back at the trip, I would definitely say that the Remy restaurant was so much better. So for the same price, pretty much, I think it was €4 more, you got an extra course, and because we were annual pass holders, we got a free cocktail that was actually really nice. So we got 2 courses and a cocktail for €4 more than what I got for gnocchi in Manhattan, and my gnocchi was vegetarian. It was gnocchi with tomato sauce and mozzarella. And at Remy's I had steak soup, and the steak was obviously served with chips, ratatouille and the béarnaise sauce. So I literally was a little bit disappointed in review of Manhattan. I just think for the price, we were at the corner of the restaurant, so you couldn't even see the Asgard chandelier that's meant to be the focal point of this restaurant. We were kind of blocked by a pillar, so you could kind of see it either side, but you couldn't see the chandelier. It was pretty late, so we felt quite rushed. We were in and out of the restaurant within 45 minutes, and I think for like a fine dining experience, I can understand their wish to be prompt. I'm not saying it was anything to do with the servers, but it was just a different experience, whereas Remy's was way more relaxed. We just kind of felt like the waiter had a bit more time for us. The food was probably the same quality we had in Manhattan, if not better, and we just left feeling a lot more satisfied by Remy's. I'm not saying that's everyone's experience of Manhattan. I know that my friend Ems, she's been to Manhattan and she really loved it, but for me it wasn't a restaurant I'm rushing to go back to. It was also really hard to get dining reservations, so we booked our trip about 3-4 weeks in advance, I think. It was very spur of the moment, but dining reservations open up 2 months in advance, and basically most places had gone. There was the steakhouse available, the yacht club, but that's mainly fish, and Soph and Key don't really like fish, and a couple of others were available that were at like the resorts. But we really wanted to try Remy's in Downtown, which is the buffet restaurant at Art of Marvel. Neither were available. It was only through me checking like every single day, sometimes twice a day, that we had one pop up for Manhattan, and we were like, let's just grab it. And then about a week later, one popped up for Remy's, which must just be people cancelling their reservations, opened up reservations for us. So we were delighted. We were only going to do one, but then no self-control, we ended up doing both. I think the Manhattan one obviously was a little bit swayed by also the fact that we ate at like 10 o'clock, which is very late when the parks shut at like 7:30. So it was a bit of waiting around, and I think we probably got over hungry and a little bit tired. But that doesn't detract from the fact that where we were sat, how much it was for what we had, and the overall atmosphere, that was the points where I deducted from my overall Manhattan experience, not the lateness or the fact that it was hard to get a reservation, whereas Remy's was just so much better. If I was going to rate Manhattan out of 10, I'd give it a 6. Like, it wasn't bad. I feel like that's quite low. I assume if you got the 3 courses or got their set menu, which is the Greenwich menu, which is obviously better value for money, you could have maybe like a 7 or 7.5 out of 10 meal, whereas Remy's was like an 8.5, almost a 9. If it wasn't for the fact that they put laughing cow cheese in the soup, I think that could have been a 10 out of 10 meal, and I would 100% do it again. I know that for my next trip I really want to try downtown, and I know that Walt's restaurant has just reopened. At the moment there's a bit of a mixed review about Walt's, but I think that would be a very cool restaurant to try because obviously it's on Main Street, and I just think the atmosphere, the decor of Walt's looks so good. It's like classic vintagey Disney, which I really want to try, and I feel like there isn't much of that in Disneyland Paris, so I might have to go to both. But I'm also trying to do this trip on a budget to see if I can work out how cheap a Disneyland Paris trip can be. So someone needs to find me some self-control, really, don't they? But yeah, I feel like I've rambled on enough for today. Obviously, if you have any questions or areas that you feel like I didn't cover, just drop them below and I can reply. If you follow my Instagram, I can reply to them as Instagram stories, or if there's loads, I can do another mini video as well. So just let me know any thoughts or feelings you have towards the 30th, Disneyland Paris, dining reservations, hotels, literally anything, just drop them below. Other than that, I think I'll give a quick general review. I think I had like the best time I've ever had in Disneyland Paris on this trip. I loved my November trip because of the friends I went with. The Frozen celebration, I went with my lovely friend Imi, so that was a great trip. But in terms of Disneyland Paris itself, this trip was just amazing. The weather was gorgeous. We didn't have a drop of rain, which I didn't realise was possible in Disneyland Paris. 4 days, no rain. I don't know what was going on. But the weather, there was nothing wrong with the hotel room, there was nothing wrong with the parks, the food in general was pretty good. The only thing I will say is that because we were like the last week before the park opened up to 11, we did struggle with meal times because savoury food is not served till 11 AM, and most of the restaurants and cafes in the park shut at about 4, half 4. So you've only got like that 5 hours to try and get breakfast, lunch and dinner if you want them in the parks. So we ended up having to get like cookies or croissants every day for breakfast, which isn't really my cup of tea. We'd have lunch absolutely fine, and then we'd come to dinner and be like, we've either got to have it really early if we want to stay in the parks, or you've got to leave the parks and come back to get something savoury, or you're stuck with Casey's or Hyperion, which is great, but I'm not really a burger person. And we'd had Casey's on the first day, so I didn't want to keep eating hot dogs when hot dogs really aren't my thing. So I think it's definitely something to bear in mind. Obviously now the parks are open till 11, that might have changed, but the food is a lot better than it used to be in Disneyland Paris. There's still a long way to go, and the hours are something that you should definitely check out. So when you get to the parks, just keep an eye out, because it might be worth grabbing something from Starbucks or Disney Village if you want something savoury before you start your day. And just bear in mind when you're coming to booking dining reservations that booking a dining reservation in the park might be a good way to ensure that you get a good dinner without having to leave the parks. Other than that, I think that's me done. I'm definitely ready for another trip. I'm thinking early summer, just because obviously school holidays will be crazy. So I'm thinking early summer. Obviously I'd love if I could go back with my friends again, because I think that just makes it the best trip. I feel like I need a Disney countdown already. Maybe I have one. But I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. Also tap the notification bell, because I'm going to start posting more regularly rather than at the moment where I post quite sporadically. And it would just mean that you guys know when I've dropped the next video. Other than that, I'm gonna go. I hope you'll have the best day ever, and yeah, I hope we'll get to go to DLP and experience the 30th, because it's amazing and I'm already ready to go back. Okay, thanks, bye. Bye-bye now. Have you seen that Toy Story, I think it's Toy Story 2, where Barbie's like, bye-bye, bye-bye now.